Namaskar and welcome to NFL Masala. I'm your co-host Anant.
And I am your other co-host, Rakshak. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 3 of NFL Masala, where we talk about all the latest happenings in the NFL
With a little bit of spice.
bit of spice. How you doing, my man?
I'm good. You seem very excited, that's for sure.
Yeah, I recently got off of a dance performance with SSDC at this New York Albany Tamil Sangam. By the way, shout out to the dance team. I joined SSDC, the Selvaraj Sisters Dance Company. We performed to this one Tamil to a couple of melodies from the song, a melody to a compilation of songs from the film Velayira Patatari, or VIP, the first one. It's a Danish film. You'll love it. If I get a video of it, I'll share it with you, dog. But anyway, how have you been?
Good. Ready to look at the next round of the NFL playoffs, that's for sure.
Oh, man, dude, a lot of crazy things, man. And plus, a lot of coaching hires. Some of them we have to talk about because
Suspect.
There's us. You know the game Among Us? We know some people are sus.
There's one sus. I think we all know what it is, but we'll get into it. So this episode 33, is going to be a recap of what happened in the divisional round and the preview of the championship games, the NFC and the AFC championship games. Can you believe it? We're already there. 1 week or one session away from the Super Bowl.
Oh my goodness, man.
Just one more session away from the Super Bowl. Man, it's impressive. Before we get into that, let's talk about some of the market hour news. Speaking of which, so just today at around 4:50 p.m. Eastern times, around 5 o'clock,
right,
we saw that the Jets have now hired Darren Mogi as the general manager for the Jets.
No,
now,
I won't forget about the Jets. It's perfectly okay because the shit show that they've done for the past 2 years.
14 years, no playoffs.
Correction, 14 years since
14 years, no playoffs. In fact, there was a stat where it said that every single NFL team other than the Jets have at least been to the playoffs since 2010. Every single NFL team has at least been to a playoff game in the since 2010, other than the Jets.
Yeah.
So it is impressive considering the ineptitude that is the New York Jets. Now, they are trying to overhaul the entire team, right? You saw, they hired a new head coach. They hired now a new GM after the disaster class that is Joe Douglas, except for the 5 or 6 good players that he's actually brought.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that team goes in the offseason. It also depends entirely on what Aaron Rodgers does, but a little bit about Darren Mogi. He was a longtime Denver Broncos scout and executive who became their assistant GM in 2022. And he is also the 3rd youngest GM at the age of 39 and is 2 years younger than Aaron Rodgers. So it looks, and he's expected to have a traditional GM role, which means he's going to have final say in the personnel decisions and the control of the 53-man roster. So clearly they are trying to move on from the shit show known as the Aaron Rodgers whimper legacy drive. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, it seems like a good hire. The Denver Broncos have been pretty decent in terms of their drafting, but they did also give a massive contract to Russell Wilson. Now, that was under GM George Payton, and he was retained when they did bring in Sean Payton.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, the jury's still out, right? So we'll definitely see.
Not surprised by that.
Yeah. Alrighty. Up next.
And with this, we do have some news from good old Schefty himself, Adam Schefter of ESPN. He did report today at 5:38 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He says, for those complaining that the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes gets too many calls, there could be some relief. Karavule, Bhagavan, God, Allah, Jesus, whatever God that you believe in, or Yeshua, or whatever. There's relief. There is hope for us. You know how we say, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You are my only hope."
Oh yeah.
And then guess what? The rule is NFL Replay Assist is expected to expand to this offseason into plays that could include the QB slide. League sources have said they enacted Replay Assist in 2021 to allow replay officials and designated members of the officiating department to assist with on-field calls in limited game situations. Replay Assist has been used during games. So now an additional elements could be added to this offseason. They came into question because of Mahomes, which you'll talk about later. And then I remember this is the part when Troy Aikman is saying, "Oh, come on." I'm going to try my Troy Aikman impersonation. "Oh, come on. I mean, he's a runner, and I could not disagree with that one more. He barely gets hit." And the league has got to address it this off season. You can't, as a quarterback, run around and play a game so the defenders and then get called for a penalty. I mean, and hell, Will Anderson Jr. said about it like, "Hey, I don't feel that." He said like, "Hey, it's like the refs are playing this." And you know what? And the stupid thing is the vice president. Did you see like on Good Morning Football? One of the officiating members, like the vice president, said like, "Oh no, this is the rule and all that." I'm like, this is bullshit, bro. And guess what? I'm going into an impromptu Ruckchuck rant right now. Okay. My issue with this league is ref ball. What is the scriptwriter doing? I'm going to find a scriptwriter like the Strouds. I'm going to find that car. I'm going to send it to the local junkyard, sell it, and then probably get a Tesla car, and then sell that bitch too. And probably milk some more money from that because of the stupid, and get all that money so I can pay off for those unnecessary so-called fines. Some bullshit ref ball that I've seen, and especially against the Chiefs. The Chiefs, I don't know how much money the Hunts family has. There's a freaking conspiracy with this one. The Hunts probably gave a lot of the money to the refs, and the refs are giving Paul's like, Mahomes, you know what we should do? We should give him a tight hug with Mahomes, give him a kiss on the cheek, and then that's how you probably call the play dead or something. But no, they'll say, you know what? If you do a little bit of a nice hug, tweet, personal foul, roughing the passer. Literally, what can we do? Do you want flag football, or do you want and I get yes, you want to protect the QB, but come on, there's got to be better rules than that, man. Come on. Refs, do your freaking jobs. If you need to go to Lens Crafters, we will set up a GoFundMe for that kind of shit.
See, you don't need to set up a GoFundMe because the Chiefs are into something far more nefarious, and I'll show you exactly what they're into.
They're into devil magic.
This is in Kansas City, by the way. So the Chiefs Kingdom, downtown KC, have red fountains. What does this look like to you, Rakshak?
This is a blood fountain, baby. This is a blood fountain. This is blood magic. This is blasphemy. America, if you want to be saved, go root for a different team other than the Kansas City Chiefs.
The Buffalo Bills. Root for the
Buffalo Bills. And you know what? After seeing their history, I really want the Bills to win a Super Bowl, man. I really do. I think their time is now. They have the right quarterback. Their team is playing so much better now. Their defense is underrated. The way that they've been playing this postseason, we'll talk about that more. But Now is now. Enough is enough. As the great MLK said one time, I had a dream that one day, in the words of MLK, I had a dream that one day all people, little kids, men and women, can go to a Sunday game and curse those blasphemous Chiefs, and we will watch the other AFC team go to the Super Bowl free, and so we can say, free at last. Free at last. Thank God Almighty, free at last. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
I am Raksha Kaigar of NFL Masala with my co-host, Mr. Anatsal Gundi, and we approve this message.
Yeah, this is incontrovertible evidence of Satan worshiping, devil sacrifices, and human sacrifices. How many children, man? How many children?
It's like Thanos. It's like, you know, like the one scene from Infinity War. How much was it worth? Everything.
Exactly.
We will do what in our power to stop this blasphemy that is the Kansas City Chiefs. All due respect to Patrick Mahomes. All due respect to those players. But the way that they have been saved time after time after time with controversial bullshit ref ball, they need to be stopped right now. And just for the record, just to start all this, I am placing the full-time Raksha curse on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Hands down.
Piss me off.
Hands down. All righty. Let's move on. And this time it's going to be the coaching tracker. So as you guys all know, we've had several different teams in the previous episode who are looking for new head coaches. And almost all of them have been filled, including a couple of coordinator hires as well. So let's go through some of the important ones. The biggest one is Ben Johnson leaving Detroit and going to Chicago to be their head coach. And it is so cringy, man. They win the offseason every single year. I swear to God, they have offseason Super Bowls every single year, these Chicago Bears. But it looks like this might be the one that might actually get them to the right path.
And they actually got Antoine Randall L, the Lions wide receiver coach, to be part of their offensive staff.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, that's a good move.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely a right step in the direction if you look on paper.
Yeah.
Now, it was extremely cringy because Ben Johnson, the moment he came in his introductory press conference, for some unnecessary reason, he was like, "Oh, I just loved sweeping Matt LaFleur this year," or some bullshit like that. Like, why? We live rent free in y'all's heads. Why would you want to poke the bear, right?
Bro, why do you want to poke
the Packer? Huh?
Why would you want to poke the Packer?
Exactly. I mean, we're just gonna grind your meat in our meat packing factories. If you guys hate us, so.
Just pause.
Yeah, not Joy Taylor grind, but actual grind.
No.
Alrighty.
Women, hide your kids, hide your wives.
Slim Shady is coming for you. Alrighty. So Ben Johnson, right? He goes over to the Detroit Lions, and the Detroit Lions have now lost their offensive coordinator. And I'll get to this, their defensive coordinator, their wide receiving coach, and pass game coordinator, I believe, and that's in Antoine Randall, who also goes to Ben Johnson.
Yep.
And they've lost some other pieces as well. So they've recently promoted Kelvin Shepard, their linebackers coach, as their defensive coordinator, the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
And the Bears have, brought in some very key players, a lot of them being from Dan Campbell's staff. in Detroit, like the quarterback's coach, JT Barrett. He is
Oh
now the
yeah,
quarterback's coach for Ben Johnson's offense as well.
I haven't heard that name in a long time. JT Barrett. Dude, I feel so old. JT Barrett, Dwayne Haskins, and then, man, Ohio State has a reputation of developing great quarterbacks.
Yeah, good college football quarterbacks. And look, Jared Goff, we all know his limitations, right? And we'll get to that in this upcoming game. But he did play pretty well this year, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's definitely improved since his since getting onto the Lions, right? Since he was being shipped off in favor of Matt Stafford. So, you know, a lot of that credit goes to Ben Johnson, but I feel like JT Barrett has done some good work there as well. So bringing him in, creating an offense that's going to cater to Caleb Williams's traits and strengths, that's going to be the big success story if they have it next year. So Ben Johnson going to Chicago, that's a huge step for them. We'll see if it's in the right direction. We'll see if in 2 years they just end up in the same place as they always do. So that's that. Now, next up, and this one's gonna hurt. Robert Saleh back as the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers after what went down in Jacksonville, and we'll tell you that in a little bit. But he was recently hired yesterday. Man, I just hoped I was looking forward to not seeing him in on an NFC team. I thought that he was going to go to Jacksonville, but now that he's back in San Francisco as a defensive coordinator, as they're getting healthy, it might be that they're just reloading up, you know, bringing in back their defensive coordinator that took them to the Super Bowl, right? Getting back players healthy that were, you know, on their march to the Super Bowl just last year. I don't want that. Nobody wants another healthy 49ers. All right? Especially you guys, because you're basically at this point the top dogs in the NFC. All right?
For now.
For now. But yeah, that sucked. Every Packers fan was like, why? Why? This is just nepotism at this point. Why?
Is the Screaming Street still available?
Oh, it is. It is. Wow.
But we have to talk about one of the greatest moves ever made by a franchise.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
go
babies. Off. So we know about the America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. They make the greatest move ever. They promote offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer as
we're all this year. We're all in.
All in, baby. That's the Cowboy way.
And they brought in Matt Eberflus as their DC.
Abhishek, you want to talk about it, man?
I don't think he's even available at this point. I think he's forgiven his or forgiven his, you know, Cowboy fandom at this point. He's just given up. But yeah, go ahead.
I mean, you hyped up so many things. You're saying, oh, we're going to get Dion. Oh, we're going to resign all our things. But you're going with freaking Brian Schottenheimer? I mean, he's given a 4-year deal, according to Ian Rappaport.
Yeah, 4-year deal, which is even more confounding.
Yeah, right. He was part. I mean, apparently they were leaning more with Eagles offensive coordinator and former Cowboys OC Kellen Moore, but you're going with Brian Schottenheimer.
It's the same pick. apparently reports were, Rakshak, that Jerry Jones was fully believing that Mike McCarthy was going to stay after offering him a lower deal, because that's what Jerry Jones does, right? He cheaps out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when Mike McCarthy left, they didn't have a backup plan. Like, you are the head of the most valuable sports franchise in the world. In the world.
Questionably.
Somehow, in the world, you're the most valuable franchise and you're the head of that franchise. And you don't have a backup plan for your head coach?
I have no words. I literally have no words.
And the reason why we're reacting this much is because just look at this resume, right? In the past 25 years, this is Brian Schottenheimer's resume.
Shoot.
Okay. Goes all the way back to the Washington Redskins in 2001, where he was the quarterback's coach of a 28th ranked offense.
Bruh.
San Diego Chargers, 2002 to 2005. Those were the only years that Drew Brees was not a Hall of Fame player, quarterback's coach of that franchise. New York Jets, 2006 to 2011. Do you remember those Jets? All-time Rex Ryan defenses. And they were saddled by Brian Schottenheimer and Mark Sanchez because he was the offensive coordinator.
Good Lord.
2 AFC championships were marred because this idiot was the offensive coordinator. St. Louis Rams 2012 to 2014 offensive coordinator under guess who? 2012.
Oh my, 2012. Are you talking about Jeff Fisher? Oh my God.
The 2012 to 2014 Jeff Fisher St. Louis Rams. He was the offensive coordinator, where they went 25th, 21st, and 21st in offense. Then he went to Georgia to try his hand in college football in 2015 as the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. 85th in college football in offense.
Oh my Lord.
Then the Indianapolis Colts, 2016 to 2017. 30th in offense in 2017, where he was the quarterbacks coach. Seahawks, 2018 to 2020 as the offensive coordinator. Marginal success there. That's the only place where he's had semi-marginal success, but that was with prime Tyler Lockett, prime DK Metcalf, and all those other weapons on offense. And he, was middle of the pack to barely top 10 in one of those years.
Yeah.
And then 2021, Jacksonville Jaguars pass game coordinator and quarterbacks coach, where they were 32nd in offense, and Trevor Lawrence looked absolutely abysmal.
A ghost.
There was so much. That was the Urban Meyer year.
Oh my.
So much chaos. And how does this man have a head coaching job?
I'll say this: the Schottenheimer offensive scheming doesn't work on the modern day NFL. They're going more spread, West Coast, a little bit of play action and tempo, a lot more. And even with the RPOs, the Schottenheimer thing of pounding the ball with the run and trying to go for those deep shots, they're done.
It's the same thing with Mike McCarthy, right? That's what Mike McCarthy was as well in his early years. But more importantly, you got Dak Prescott, right? Coming back from a torn knee, basically.
Yeah, here we go.
Exactly, right? Your offensive line is sort of weak.
So
you're going to need to buttress that. But you don't have a wide receiver 2. You don't have a wide receiver 3. You have a RB2 in Rico Dowdle. You have CeeDee Lamb. And you have who's the tight end? Jake Ferguson? There we go. Yep. Jake Ferguson, who's a pretty good tight end. Well, you got Dak Prescott coming back from a horrible injury. We don't know how he's going to react. I mean, in the best case scenario, Dak Prescott was an MVP caliber QB, but a regular season QB, right? And that was really, him and Jalen Hurts are pretty much in the same league.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're going to do, but we'll see. Now, the big thing that happened, all right, Duck Chuck, this is going to be the Liam Cohen story.
Oh my God, we got to talk about this.
Exactly. I think we'll talk about this, and then we'll go through the other candidates, and then we'll move on.
Yep.
All right. So Liam Cohen, he is now.
Oh, we actually have breaking Demarcadar news. According to Ian Rappaport, Bills offensive coordinator Joe Brady, the architect of this Buffalo defense, I'm reading this straight from like Rapp saying, has elected to remain with the Bills, and he's pulling out of the New Orleans Saints head coach search per me and Tom Pelissero.
Damn.
Joe Brady is sticking with Buffalo.
Damn.
The AFC East runs through Buffalo now. Still, that's a good move. Bill, I mean, I think that was a great move.
Yeah, but that's going to go into the Saints and their
and their head coach. I think they may be leaning more towards
their head coach.
Yeah,
their situation at this point.
Like, what has Kellen Moore done? We'll get to that later.
Exactly. Alrighty. So going to Liam Cohen. He is now the next head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yep.
But it wasn't that easy. All right. So first, he had his interview on January 15th, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then that was with Trent Baalke. So what he said, apparently, and this is all allegedly, right? So we can't really confirm all this, but this is how the story supposedly goes. He wasn't going to take that job until Trent Baalke was fired, right?
Yep.
And obviously, for obvious reasons, who wouldn't? But Shad Khan, in his glorious, ponderous nature, he said, no, we'll have Trent Baalke remaining. So at that point, Liam Cohen basically said, all right, I'm dipping out here. This is not a tenable situation for me, right? I'm going to go back to the Buccaneers. Mm-hmm. So then they negotiated. So he and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers negotiated a contract to make him the highest paid offensive coordinator in the league. All right?
Yeah.
However,
what's up?
The Jaguars then fired Trent Baalke after Ben Johnson was named as the head coach for the Bears, and Liam Cohen had that contract with the Buccaneers. So now Liam Cohen has still not signed his contract with the Buccaneers. He then decides that he's going to take that second interview that was initially scheduled for January 22nd, which was Wednesday, with the Jaguars, because now Trent Baalke's not there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, what offensive coordinator wouldn't want to be promoted to a head coach if that position was there and he was already interested in it, right?
Yeah.
So then he decides to do that. However, he does not tell the Buccaneers that he's actually going for that interview, and instead he lies about it by saying that his kid was unfortunately sick, and that's why he wasn't able to.
He literally said that. He actually said that.
Tampa Bay. Well, this is all allegedly. I don't know if this actually happened or
my goodness.
all that stuff, right? Now, unfortunately, his kid was sick because his wife confirmed it on Twitter. So this was the key sticking point, right?
Yep.
Liam Cohen didn't tell the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and instead lied, or did not tell the whole truth about his intentions with the Jacksonville Jaguars. However, there is another twist in this story.
Oh, no.
The Buccaneers apparently said, in the contract, you will get this contract if you do not take that second interview with the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you take the second interview, then this contract is null and void.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously in that scenario, Liam Cohen was like, okay, these guys are forcing me to choose either offensive coordinator or not have a job, right? So then the Jaguars emphasized that it was important to Liam Cohen to keep his visit under wraps, which is why Liam Cohen did not tell the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So two reasons why, right? One was that contract.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, and this is more insidious in my opinion.
Oh,
the Jaguars, this visit allowed the Jaguars to satisfy the Rooney Rule because they scheduled an interview with Robert Saleh as a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Once they did that, they were well and good to actually pursue Liam Cohen, who is white.
I don't know what to say. I mean, like, Rooney Rule has been exploited so much. I just hope they have a clear understanding, and then again, everyone should be deserving an opportunity to get a head coach. But those that I feel like are actually qualified, I mean, yeah, change that sentence if you can or something. But like, I mean, like, everyone should have a fair opportunity to like at least be a head coach or something.
Well, yes.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, but in this case, right?
Yeah.
I'm not really upset at what Liam Cohen did, right? At anybody in his position. Okay, you put yourself in Liam Cohen's position.
Okay.
You are an offensive coordinator, and you have the opportunity to be a head coach of a team, and they are willing to pay you anything. They literally fired their GM in the hopes that you are going to be their starting head coach.
Right.
Which means you have a lot of influence. You also like the quarterback and you want to coach him up in Trevor Lawrence, right? You're also in a division that is winnable. Now, he was in the NFC South, which is also a winnable division. So now you're Liam Cohen. Your offensive coordinator salary is probably going to be like, if it's the highest in the league, it's probably going to be like $6 or $7 million a year, right? But for like 4 or 5 years, right?
Yep.
As the head coach, you probably earn 3 to maybe 3.5 times per year more than that. So you're telling me that you are going to skip out on $60 million plus of free of money that you're going to earn? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So whatever Liam Cohen did, right, whether he used his son or not used his son, whatever that case may be, anybody in his position would do the same thing. So I am actually really upset at these dumbasses, especially ones of the older generations, who are like, oh, this breaks a code of honor. This breaks a man's honor.
Yep.
I'm like, this is BS. Honor, justice, code, these are all words, fancy words that Hollywood loves to use. It doesn't exist in the real world. The real world does not give a shit about anybody's code or honor. You either take what you want or you die. I know it's a very pessimistic worldview, but that is the real world, right? You have to take what you want or you will lose. So anybody in Liam Cohen's position would have taken that extra $60 million. Are you kidding me? That sets up your entire family's generation for the future, like at least 3 to 4 generations, for however long the United States continues to exist in this world and we continue to practice capitalism. That is generational wealth. You're not just simply going to say, no, I'm not going to take that because I'm going to have to cross a line. And this line, by the way, was already being crossed by the Jags because they, stepped around the Rooney Rule, or they manipulated the Rooney Rule in their benefit. And the Bucks who were forcing him to stay with the with them because of their, shenanigans. So honestly, like, America's at will employment. If a company is willing to fire you on the spot and give no reason whatsoever, why the fuck should you have any loyalty to that company? The only loyalty you should have is to yourself and your family. That's it. So that's my little rant about the world.
Yeah.
So now Liam Cohen is the official head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Bucs are now looking at another offensive coordinator, and this is actually the worst that I feel for is Baker Mayfield, because
oh man, yeah,
it's his 8th coordinator in 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's how tough of a ride that he's had. So we'll see how that goes. All right, you want to talk about the last two, the Jets and the Saints?
I mean,
3: Jets, Saints, and Raiders.
So the Jets getting Aaron Glenn as their defense, as their new head coach, it's like you're kind of repeating the same thing. You first got Robert Saleh initially as your head coach. I mean, if Aaron Glenn, he has familiarity with the Jets because he used to be the Jets, one of their first top first draft picks, and the way that he's helped that Detroit defense, I think he could pull it off. But the issue is going to be the offense. Who's going to be the quarterback? Do they trust with Aaron Rodgers or not? And I'm going to say this. You know what I'm going to say? Get a quarterback. Get a quarterback this round.
But there's not, like, maybe you get like Jalen Milroe in the second round.
Yeah.
Like
second round, they can get Jalen Milroe. Have him learn behind Aaron Rodgers for like a little bit. If they decide to go stick with Rodgers this season.
Exactly. But they also have Jordan Travis. We have not seen him at all.
I think maybe they should go ahead and try with Jordan Travis and get Jalen Milroe in behind. And if Milroe does work well, and if another team wants him, maybe they trade for, I don't know, some conditional picks. I don't know. You got to work it out. And I think that's up to Darren Mogi, the new GM. He has to figure out some kind of system that can work out.
Yeah.
The second one, I think, from the Bengals, getting Al Golden from University of Notre Dame after firing Lou Anarumo. I was like, first of all, congratulations to Notre Dame on making it to the college football championship. But Ohio State, who still lost to Michigan, who have still lost to Michigan, by the way. Credit to Kirsten.
Garb, we're calling you out.
No. Yeah, Garb, we're still calling Garb out, but you know what? Shout out to Kirsten and other people that support Michigan football, especially my boy BG Brandon Graham. But I think like Ohio State, congratulations on winning it. But I think what Al Golden being hired, I mean, like him being the new defensive coordinator is like, I don't know about this move, but it's more like a let's wait and see.
Yeah.
And last but not least,
could be a Jeff Hafley type thing.
It could be,
right?
But if it works out well, I think they struck gold from the Irish. See what I did there? And the Raiders getting old man Pete Carroll. I'm happy for Pete.
Honestly, I think that's a good move because the Raiders have been the champion of ineptitude for the past 10 years almost at this point, since the 2016 playoff run.
Yep.
They've cycled through quarterbacks, they've cycled through several different rosters and bad GMs, and the whole the 2020 and 2021 drafts that were absolutely abysmal. Right, selecting Divine Diablo in the first round.
Oh my God, one of the greatest draft names ever.
Yeah, so I think this is a good move to get some culture in that scenario. Now, they are not the Chargers, right? They don't have Justin Herbert.
Yep.
They have Aiden O'Connell. So that's going to be priority number one for the Raiders. And I think they also got a GM now. And I think this is probably going to be more important than Pete Carroll. And that is the John Spytek, surprise, surprise, a Tom Brady team having a general manager with the word spy.
Yes.
But John Spytek was part of the Buccaneers franchise for the past like decade or so. And you can clearly see the talent that John Spytek has helped bring in to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that's exactly what the Raiders need, because they need help in the offensive line. They need help. They need help everywhere. That roster needs a turnaround. And the guys that John Spytek brings in is going to be very happy. Like, I think a lot of people, especially Raiders fans, were not really happy that Pete Carroll was the head coach, especially since they lost out on the opportunity to Ben Johnson. And I get that. But you don't have a quarterback, right? You need somebody who's going to give hope to your franchise, to help to make sure that your players play for you at a high level. And that's what Pete Carroll does. Let's say you get a developmental quarterback, right, in like the second or third round this year. Maybe someone like Jackson Dart, for example, in the third round. Right, he's been getting some good, some eyes on him by a couple of draft analysts, and we'll get into this during our off-season episodes. But let's say you get in a developmental quarterback like that. You start Aiden O'Connell. You see, you have a competition. You try and keep yourself in the playoff hunt. You maybe, you're out like 2 games, but at least your team plays for you. Yeah, your team players are not going to quit come week 8, right? Because Pete Carroll is there. He knows how to energize a team. He knows how to bring a team together. So I think that it's actually going to be a pretty good hire, considering all the situation, the entirety of the coaching landscape this year, where you probably had maybe 2 genuine head coaching candidates.
Yep.
So I think this is a good one. And the reports are out there that Tom Brady is the one who's spearheading all of this, and like it's his vision. There's even reports that the TB12 diets were also being implemented in-house. So if that's his franchise, we'll see how this goes. This is going to be a pivotal next 3 years in terms of Tom Brady, in terms of what Pete Carroll can do, how John Spytek can bring this organization back to its former glory. Now, this is another thing, Rakshak.
Yes.
AFC West Division.
Jim Harbaugh and Pete Carroll, the rivalry from USC and Stanford is back on.
Exactly. And San Francisco and Seattle. Right?
McDonald, and surrounded by 3 old guys, I think. Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh.
All 4 of them are old. Andy Reid, Sean Payton, Pete Carroll, and now and Jim Harbaugh. Like, all of them are... this is a crazy stat that I saw. The average age of the AFC West Division head coaches is 65 years old. 65 years old. That's the retirement age for the for the United States. The average age of the NFC West is like 37 or something like that.
Yep.
It's insane, the difference and just the way that this division is shaping up to be. So we'll see how that goes. Last but not least, the Saints. We don't know what the fuck they're doing. They've missed out on all of these opportunities. They are now...
You don't get Kellen Moore. Just stick with what you got.
No, not even... Dude, they're interviewing Mike McCarthy. All right, they're interviewing...
Let's go! It's
I don't know what the Saints do. They're like $60 million over the cap, but we'll see how that goes. All righty. Let's move on now to the divisional round recap.
Oh, boy.
Starting with those goddamn Chiefs. 23-14, they beat the Texans. Do we really need to talk about this, man? It is so depressing to watch this over and over again. Like literally, the Texans led in so many yards. I think they're the first team to be leading in pass yards, in rush yards, in total yards, in winning the turnover battle, and winning the time of possession, and still lose the playoff game. Like this is the Chiefs' devil magic at work.
Yep. And
this is the Chiefs' devil magic at work.
And because of this, the Texans fired Bobby Slowick, their offensive coordinator.
Yes, that's huge. And the key thing, right, is penalties. And we've seen this time and time and time again with the Chiefs.
And let me say this. There, like in general, I believe there are 3 things that can kill offensive drives. What are they in them? Number 1, penalties. Number 2, sacks. And number 3, turnovers. If you get 2 out of 3 or something like that, most of the time you're going to be losing games.
Yeah. And this time they got 2 out of 3. I mean, they won the turnover battle, but he was sacked. CJ Stroud was sacked 8 times, and you could clearly see
where the hell is their offensive
third
line?
Down blitzes, second down blitzes, fourth down blitzes by Steve Spags. I mean, he's the greatest defensive coordinator we've seen in the past 25, 30 years, right?
Yeah.
He has to be. He's like a 4-time Super Bowl champion because of his defenses primarily. So, like situational defense, he's the king of that so far. And there's just no way that this Houston Texans offensive line was able to pick up any of the stunts and any of the motions that Steve Spagnuolo put on display during some of these blitzes. And that's why CJ Stroud was sacked 8 times for 58 yards. It was a drive. They were all drive killers. Penalties, 8 penalties for 82 yards. And man, 10 out of 17 for third down conversion, which is pretty good. It's actually pretty good. They won the turnover time of possession that as I said before, 33 minutes. But they even had more first downs. They even ran the ball well. They had 150 rushing yards. And they still lost by 9 points because of the goddamn Chiefs. They just don't make mistakes, and they just continue to have luck in their favor. They are the Patriots at this point. They are the Patriots at this point.
They can't keep getting away with it.
They can't, man. They just cannot. And I'm going to look. So while you give your thoughts, I'm going to bring up those penalties that we saw from the Chiefs.
I mean, my quick thoughts about this game, the penalties, and I mean the big sacks, especially on that third down plays, man. It shows that the Texans need to invest in the offensive line. Yes, there are a couple of playmakers, but you got to go O-line. If you don't, you're asking for trouble. You, as we say, build through the trenches, offense and defense. And then, I mean, the wide receiver room, and like the receiving room in general, other than Nico Collins, Xavier Hutchinson, Dalton Schultz, half of their wide receiving corps held to injured. Like Tank Dell, who else? That's pretty much it. Tank Dell. Oh my God.
Stephon Diggs.
Is Tank Dell? I didn't even. Oh right, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell. Who else? Like they need to invest. They need to grab a wide receiver or offensive line in the first round, and it's even crazy. Like Xavier Hutchinson, Joe Mechie, Irv Smith Jr., Dare Ongubawale, Damian Pearson, Jason Jaden, and Jared Wayne. Good Lord. Stroud needs more wide receivers to help out.
I mean, he has Nico Collins, but I think this is one of the reasons why they fired Bobby Slowick, right? they spent a lot of money. Nick Caserio and that GM front office organization for the Texans, they have spent a lot of money bringing in offensive line talent. But I just think that the scheme was not helping this offensive line, right? You look at Bobby Sloak and his tendencies. Half the time they're in 3rd and long, right? They run on first down at 2 yards. Then it's like 2nd and 8, and then they try and throw incomplete over or deep over the middle. It becomes incomplete, and they're 3rd and 8, and then they take a sack, right? That's what you see half the time for this Texans offense, and it just got so stale and so unchanging from an offensive line perspective, because I think they just were not coached well. When you see stunts being constantly run over the interior of the offensive line after spending a lot of money on that offensive line and draft picks, it goes to show that the coaching is probably a big factor. And so Bobby Slowick, he had his moments, right? He had his creative moments, but when push came to shove, it just was not consistent. So I think that's why they fired him, and you could clearly see that this game.
Yeah.
All right. So I want to show you 2 plays. One that was that egregious penalty that Troy Aikman audibly yelled at. So let me share. I'm just so frustrated I can't speak. I mean, he's a runner and okay. All right. So this is that flag.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Defense number 39.
Do you hear that?
Yeah, I like that's the one when I was like quoting it, and I'm like, "Yep, Aikman says it better."
And okay, so this is the flag. This is what they're calling it on. He's a runner. Mahomes is a runner at that point.
And he slid.
He slid. And they're not even they're hitting each other more than they're hitting Mahomes.
I mean, that is stupid as hell.
I could not disagree with that one more. And he barely gets hit. That's the 2nd penalty now that's been called against.
You know what? For this one, the Bills, I don't care. I mean, I don't want to wish this upon any other person. Like, I'll say this. Bills, I don't mind if we get a body bag game. I literally don't mind. Yeah. Get in a 3rd string or 4th string player, put him on the field for something like that.
And then now, here's one more that I want to show you, right?
Yeah.
This one was not called. It's a clear hip drop tackle. Right there. That was not called. Clearly a hip drop tackle, and they did not call it. Like these type of shenanigans where they call egregiously horrifying penalties, so much so that the NFL is willing to take a look at changing their policies of instant replay assist for penalties. It just brings a whole nother level of shame that these guys don't have. And there is one more.
Shame.
Exactly.
I'm that lady from Game of Thrones. Shame. Sing it with me on a shame.
Shame
on you.
All right. So, where was this? There's a video where he fake slid, right? Or he was trying to look for a he's trying to look for a penalty, but he does not get it called. And you clearly see that he's hold up. Come on, give me the video. He tried to flop. Basically, he tried to flop, and the refs were not having it. Right? They clearly, at least they didn't.
I'm happy
to
that
level.
they didn't call it. I was like, oh hell no.
Yeah, at least they didn't stoop to that level.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Found it. Okay. I need to share this now. Where are we? Okay. So literally, this tweet has 139,000 likes. Someone just pop this dude and eat the penalty. I don't give a fuck anymore. Because this is what it is, right? Okay. So he's running out of bounds as a runner, and these Texans players push him out of bounds with that. And then look at that. Right in front of the referee, and is like, oh no.
Copy. No. What's that one thing? You know what? I thought of a big idea when he falls off. Oh, copy, gum.
Or help! I've fallen and I can't get up. Ref alert, please. I mean, that's the level that he's going at. And this is insanity. At least Tom Brady took his hits like a man, right? He wasn't a coward. This is soccer level bullshit.
This is like the Neymar challenge times 10.
Clearly.
You know what? We're going to call it Mahomesing.
It's Mahomesing. All right. That's it from this game. Clearly the Chiefs... I don't want to talk about it anymore, man. You go ahead and talk about your Eagles game.
Ladies and freaking gentlemen, for those that still keep on doubting us, I say it's hunt season, y'all bitches. We took care. Like, I will say this. This was not a pretty game at all. This is a snow game.
You almost lost.
We almost lost, but you know what I say? And I'm going to talk, and yes, the Eagles won 28-22, but I will say this. All hail Saquon of House
MVP,
Barkley.
man.
First of his game, runner of long yards, slayer of the Giants, god of Philadelphia running backs, the true MVP of the season. Long may he fucking reign. 26 carries, 205 yards, 2 tutties. You know where I saw this shit before? The 2013 snow game when LaShawn McCoy was jumping over lines and all that shit. First, and he had those 2 touchdowns with 2 big runs. The second drive of the Eagles, Saquon Barkley handoff, a 62-yarder breaks on the outside. I think it was an outside zone rush. Boom! Straight to the finish line. And then the second run, you know what that was. The second to last drive.
Mm-hmm.
When we thought we could run away with the game, boom, he goes on, man. My God. Thank you, Giants, from the bottom of our hearts for being such an ineptitude, dumbass organization. And I mean, you guys are so big idiots. I pray to God that the head coach, who's the head coach right now? I forgot.
Brian Daboll.
Brian Daboll. I hope he could reach out to his brain and say, his own brain and say, get me the hell out of this place because I got fucking screwed. And you know what? For everyone else, Saquon Barkley 316 says, I just ran all for 200 yards on your ass. And my God, Saquon Barkley is a godsend. Now we got to talk about the passing game. I'll say this. Very shaky. But those first 2 drives with Jalen Hurts, I mean, when we saw him break in for that 44-yard touchdown run, I was like, okay, we got something. Then he was hitting back, shouting out to the crowd and all that stuff. Excellent blocking, but You nearly lost the game, man. I don't get the play calling with Kellen Moore and Hurts. When you're getting pressured, throw the ball away. Where are the hot routes? Where are your crossers? Where are your meshes? Why am I not seeing this?
There were several instances where there was open receivers, right? Like on that safety.
Get it.
He was open.
Dallas Goddard was open. And when having Goddard back in the game, he had 4 receptions for 56 yards. That was good. I said, feed Goddard a little bit more. I get, yes, if Saquon Barkley gets a lot more touches and the Rams cannot even stop him, I'm fine with it. But if they're finding ways to stack the box and they're blitzing, they're going to try and go for heavy run blitzes, especially when you're stacking the box. Mm-hmm. 2 things you could do. Hot routes and hot quick routes, especially crosser slants, because their linebacking core is bad. I mean, and that one Goddard play, when you had a screen play, which actually worked before Mekhi Becton was called for a fucking penalty. I mean, come on. And A.J. Brown, you got to make those long catches when Jalen Hurts is throwing it to you. And Devontae Smith, 4 catches for 21 yards. And of course, he had a big dirty hit from Ahkello Witherspoon. Ahkello Witherspoon, you're a bitch. Understand it? You're a broke-ass, baby-ass bitch. Get your ass back to sunny-ass Cancun, motherfucker. Understand that. But, Jalen Hurts getting sacked 7 times. A lot of things, and I'll say this. Jared Verse, he talked a lot of shit and he backed it up. I'll give him credit for it. And I love it. And yes, after the game, Philly fans were throwing snowballs at him and joking with him at the end. But I was like, hey, you know what? You poked the bear, motherfucker. Understand that. But Jared Verse, he played a hell of a game. And you know what? Credit to him. He had 3 of those 3 out of the 7 sacks. I'll give him that. But it also shows concern of that interior offensive line, especially with Cam Jurgens and Mekhi Becton. Landon Dickerson was getting a little bit done, but when they're run blocking, damn, they're freaking ferocious. Which is why I beg the question: if you're leading more with the run game, and it's excuse me, when you're leading more with the run game, I get that Hurts needs to pass a little bit more, but if you attack quickly with those hot routes, and I like that 4th and 4 when Hurts is rolling, quick throw to A.J. Brown and he makes that catch on that 4th and 4 drive, which led to those field goals by Jake Elliott. That was beautiful, but at least one thing I'll say for Jalen Hurts, he did not turn over the ball except for that safety. That's all I'll say. You got to do a better job with it. But he did get tackled awkwardly, so that's something to keep a concern on his knee. He's going to be wearing a brace, but Dallas Goddard having a good coming back, I think that was a godsend. And now let's talk about that Eagles defense, baby, because Matt Stafford, we made Matt Stafford our bitch.
No, you didn't.
You
were one throw away.
I'll say this.
From losing a game.
The reason why I say this, remember I talked about the 3 things that can kill offensive drives: turnovers, sacks, and penalties.
Yeah,
I said we got 2 of the 3. Yes, but the biggest concern is so far in the past couple of games, 2 games combined, we've given up 700 plus total offensive yards. But again, it's part of that build but don't break. And the way that we've been winning those battles is winning the turnover battle. I mean, what's the magic number? 2. That signifies 2 big turnovers in that game. And guess what? That means Vic Fangio this season has officially owned that bitch ass Kyle Shanahan bitchy offensive system. He is perfect. He's beaten Matt LaFleur twice via turnovers and being opportunistic. He's beaten Sean McVay twice. I'm doing the Winston Churchill the other way, meaning up your bum, bitch. And who else was part of the Kyle Shanahan system that we faced off? You get to that soon. But No, I mean, like, I just want to flaunt off, man. I want to fucking flaunt off this defense, man. And you know what? I have to give biggest credit to Jalen Carter, the baby rhino. He made that Rams offensive line his bitch. He ran through those motherfuckers. I'll say that. Certified game record. 5 total tackles, 3 QB hits, 2 sacks on that bitch, Matt Stafford. 2 tackles for a loss, 1 pass deflected, and that 1 big forced fumble. And especially what he did on that Rams final drive. I mean, I love that Saquon Barkley had those 2 big runs, but you know what? That Jalen Carter sack was the Masala moment of the week for me. Early spoiler warning. He literally saved this game for Philadelphia. And I also want to give credit to Mara Ojimo. Like backup guys like Mill Williams, Mara Ojimo from what school does he go to? Say it.
Holcomb.
He went to UT Austin. By the way, this was his first sack.
Yeah.
Mara Ojimo had his first sack. And Jalen Hunt. I'm surprised. I thought when we picked him in the 3rd round, I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be a bad move. I did not like it. But the way that he's been playing so far, he's had like back-to-back sacks, I think. He's been making some plays. And Nolan Smith, what a year for him, man. He had a forced fumble, which was recovered by Zach Bond, and each had a couple of sacks. I mean, all 3 of them had like sacks. Matt Stafford got sacked 5 times this game. But another thing, Quinyon Mitchell was out with a shoulder injury on that first Rams drive. Isaiah Rodgers filled in. He nearly had a pick, but which was ripped away by Demarcus Robinson. Rodgers, you had the position. You got to hold on tight because receivers, they don't. The thing is, the play continues until that whistle is blown. So you got to complete it. But he held up on his own. He did recover a forced fumble, which at the end of the goal line, and Darius Slay did okay in coverage, but I could say this. And of course, Isaiah Rodgers went out and Keely Ringo had to step in. But very happy with the Eagles defense. I was very impressed with the way that they attacked, especially. But Jake Elliott, we got to talk about this. There's something wrong with the kicking situation overall. First, Justin Tucker, Jake Elliott. Jake Elliott, by the way, 3 for 3 on field goals. 1 for 3 on extra points. Bro, what is going on? I get the snow. You're kicking field goals in the snow that you can't kick a freaking extra point. Are you kidding me? Like, this is going to be one of those games where it's going to kick our ass. But I will say this, like, overall passing has to be better. I mean, the passing game has to be better. Defense has to play a little bit more tighter, and we're expected to get Quinyon Mitchell ready for this upcoming NFC Championship game. They move on, and yeah, I mean, and also I have to give credit to Oren Burks. That one play, which he batted down, like I think it was a 3rd down play. Matt Stafford tries to make a throw. Oren Burks bats it down, and this is what I'd like to say. If you're a defensive line or an offensive play or linebacker or any secondary, you don't need to make the big play. Just bat it down. Volleyball spike that bitch. You know what I mean? And I mean, that's what you got to do. Make it simple. Let the fight another thing. Any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think in a closed game, I think the Rams would have probably won, considering that the Rams had, 8 sacks on you guys?
7 sacks, yeah.
7 sacks, and that's 15 sacks in 2 games, which was, I think, 3rd in the entire NFL history in terms of like sacks in an entire postseason, and they got that in 2 games. So I think they definitely had a shot, especially that last drive. Once Puka Nacua caught that catch, I was like, oh, I think this game is done. I think the Rams were going to pull it, but like,
yeah,
Ben Brown, don't break defense. He shut it down. You know, credit to the Eagles defense. Like, this is the reason why the Eagles are winning. It's their defense and Saquon, right? Passing game has been pretty inefficient since week 10, besides that one game against the Steelers, right?
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, I have to say this. Happy Republic Day.
Yes, sir. Happy Republic Day to India.
Yep.
But yeah, so in this game, right? This game, Eagles fans have some of the highest forms of delusion I've ever seen from a freaking fan base, right? Besides the Cowboys. I don't hate Jalen Hurts, but he is not the reason why you guys are winning.
We're winning with him. We're winning because there are three things. You're winning because of him, you're winning with him, and you're winning in spite of. I'm in the middle. We're winning with Jalen Hurts. Yes, the one thing that I could agree with, Jalen Hurts doesn't turn over the ball. That's been and the thing is, the way that the Eagles win these games, if you win the turnover battle and you run and I think ever since that bye week after Tampa Bay and the bye week, they said, hey, you know what? We got Saquon Barkley. Let's run the ball and then open up with some small, quick pass plays, and then we play great defense. That's the identity. Keep it simple. There's a thing called KISS, right? Keep it simple, stupid. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
And you win with Jalen Hurts. If you win with Jalen Hurts, I'm perfectly okay with it because if he can use his legs and run. Push works out.
Right, he had that 44-yard rushing touchdown.
Yeah, I mean that was good.
I mean, that was before the knee injury, so we'll see how he shows up. And I think during practice, he seemed that he's starting to get healthier, right? So, I mean, that's good for you guys. And I think that's what you need to do, right? Focus, use Jalen Hurts' rushing ability, which is his primary strength, right? And in the passing game, limit the amount of passing snaps to maybe 15 or so. You know what? Their formula should be what the San Francisco 49ers did to the Packers that one game where they ran for 300 yards and Jimmy Garoppolo threw for 7 times.
Right.
The entire game.
Oh, if I remember, there was a stat that you showed on ESPN or something, if Jalen Hurts throws for less than 150 yards or something, the Eagles win a lot of those games. But if he throws for over 200, they lose those games. I'm like, what is going on?
That's what I'm saying. That's why Jalen Hurts is a really good game manager, but he's not the sole reason for you guys winning. I mean, you said it. You have the MVP on your team, and that's Saquon Barkley.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
it's a team first mentality.
Costed the Eagles 11 points this game. Right. He definitely did cost them 2.
Those sacks, especially on third. Especially those sacks in field goal range. Bro, throw it away and allow Jake Kelly to get those points, man.
That's it. That's what I've been saying, right? That's his primary weakness, and that is taking sacks. And now, so I'll have to show you this, right?
Yeah.
So there is this stat here. Okay. So pressure to sack rate. What is the pressure to sack ratio? Basically, in 2024, how many times was a quarterback pressured, and how many of those times was that converted into sacks, right? So if you have a high pressure to sack rate, Will Levis, Caleb Williams, Deshaun Watson, that's not good. Why? Because like you said, those are drive killers. Penalties, turnovers, and sacks are drive killers. Good for you guys that Jalen Hurts does not turn over the football. Right. And you guys are solid enough that you rarely get penalized. And if you do, it is fluke penalties. But the main thing is taking sacks. And this clearly shows he's by far one of the worst quarterbacks, the second worst quarterback this year in terms of pressure to sack ratio, nearly 30%. So 1 in every 3 pressures is getting turned into sacks. And the only reason why he doesn't have 80 sacks on the season is because this offensive line is so phenomenal. Right? This offensive line is so phenomenal. And that's where the pressures over expectation comes in.
And most of the time you're running it with Saquon Barkley.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. Running it with Saquon Barkley and not throwing it enough. But when you do throw, 1/3 of all pressures are turned into sacks. That's untenable.
That has to change. Exactly. That has to change. If you want to win a Super Bowl, it has to reduce like that.
Exactly. But I think that's either the offensive system is not designed well, which is also the situation, right? You've seen I mean, how many times have we seen on third down where Kellen Moore drafts, a scheme that rarely has anybody wide open, right? It's not creating any commotion in the defensive backfield and allowing people to be schemed open. So it forces Jalen Hurts to be Superman, but I don't think that's his role. I think his role is a lot like Russell Wilson in those Super Bowl years, right? Rely on the defense, rely on a good running game, do not turn over the football, be safe, and if you have a deep shot, take it, and you're good, right?
Yeah.
That's what he's good at. He's good at taking deep shots when he has A.J. Brown, right? And Russell Wilson had back in those days in 2012.
And Doug Baldwin,
right? Who was a great deep threat. So that is what the Eagles need to do, is implement like the 2013 style, 2012 style, Seahawks level of offensive and defensive schemes. Well, offensive
RPO. If you gotta stick back with the RPO that worked for you, stick with it. I don't know. Do something
to prevent sacks.
Yeah.
And that was a major criticism from Russell Wilson as well, right? He took too many sacks. He still takes too many sacks. Jalen Hurts still takes too many sacks. I think that's the best comp for him. And it's not to shade Russell. That's not to shade Jalen Hurts. I mean, he's still a top 10 QB. He's not a game changer. He's not in the same league as Pat Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow. Like those four guys are cut above the rest.
Right.
Alrighty. Let's move on.
Adan, I leave this to you.
Yes. Oh my God. This was the greatest hate watch I have ever seen.
Today's player hater of the year. The player hater of the year award goes to Anand.
Go ahead.
The player hater of the year award goes to Anand right now.
Oh my God, dude. I can't even begin. How many times were you guys saying, "Oh, we're gonna go to the Super Bowl"? Oh my God, it's predestined. Your head coach was like, "Oh, I'll see you in 2 weeks," just completely forgetting that you have to play actual playoff games. You have the same amount of playoff victories as the Packers do, and that is 0. As the Bears do, and that is 0. As the Vikings do, and that is 0. 0. You failed.
And because of that failure, the Eagles are hosting the NFC Championship game.
Exactly. You failed. And you dare complain, "Oh, we had too many players on IR." Well, guess what? The Packers, when they won in 2010, the Super Bowl, we had 15 players in IR, and Charles Woodson, Hall of Famer, went down with injury during the Super Bowl, and we still pulled off the victory. So shut the fuck up. Respectfully. No, not even respectfully, because you guys are a bunch of jackasses. That's what that fan base is, right? It's a bunch of jackasses, just misogynistic, pathetic losers who have never won in their pathetic, miserable lives. And you finally have some sort of winning mentality, and you crap all over the field. You have now proven that you are incapable of handling winning. You are worthless. Karma came back to strike y'all in the ass.
They moved from the Detroit Lions to the Detroit Kittens.
Yeah, Detroit Kittens for sure. Jared Goff, best quarterback in the NFC North. What happened? 5 turnovers.
Keep on going, man.
Beat the 31st ranked or like 30th ranked rushing defense, dude, and the Commanders at home. Your fans were abandoning you in the 3rd quarter. Did you see that mass exodus of Lions fans from that stupid fucking field?
From Fort Field? I can't
deserve it.
I can't.
They don't deserve it. And then they dare say, "Oh, we run the North. We're the kings of the North." Win a playoff game. Matt LaFleur has more playoff victories than Dan Campbell. And did you know there are 2 teams in NFL history who have won 15 games who were the number 1 seed and lost in the first playoff game.
I didn't know that.
You know who the other team was?
Who?
2011 Green Bay Packers when we lost to the Giants.
Damn.
You know who?
Oh yeah, the Brett Favre Eli versus Eli Manning. Oh my god.
No, that was Aaron Rodgers.
Oh,
that was
Aaron
Aaron Rodgers
Eli
Super
Manning.
Bowl, like post Super Bowl victory. He won his second MVP or his first MVP in 2011.
Yeah,
and the second team was the Detroit Lions of 2024.
Oh my lord.
Pathetic losers. Man, I gotta say, man, Jaden Daniels, he's the real deal.
No, you know what? He is the problem. He is the problem for everyone. They needed a culture change, and they freaking got it, man. Everyone should be furious right now. Do not take the Commanders lightly. And yeah, I saw Dan Snyder getting jealous of the wins. I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up and sit your ass down, you blind bitch. I mean, damn. And guess who came out of the woodworks to scare everyone? Scary Terry, dude.
Oh yeah, Scary Terry.
Oh my god,
he's phenomenal. I mean, he's a top 10 receiver, top 5 receiver. I mean, for some people, right? Especially for Commanders fans, for a reason.
Oh my lord, Scary Terry,
and
dude.
What's even funnier, right?
What's funny?
So let's talk a little bit about the Detroit Lions offense. let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit, okay?
Tell me.
Somehow they have 521 total yards on offense.
Right.
200 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, 336 passing yards, and we're 98th percentile in NFL history since 2000 or something like that. In postseason history, in terms of success rate, 98th percentile. They scored 31 points, and they still lost by 14. Why?
3 things that can kill offensive drives. Can I say it again? Turnovers, sacks, and penalties. What happened?
5 turnovers.
Wait, punch
turnovers. 4 from Jared the Goofball. 2 sacks. And 1 more fumble. So you have at this point 5 penalties, 5 total turnovers, 4 of them being interceptions by Jared the Goofball. And actually one of them being, so 3 of them were from Jared the Goofball. One of them was being from Jameson Williams, and we'll get into that a little bit.
Oh my, what the hell was that play? That was unnecessary.
I'll get into that in a little bit. They had more first downs. And okay. Why? When Jahmyr Gibbs is 14 for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns, he's going at 8 yards per carry. Why the hell does he only have 14 carries?
Oh my, that's my concern. He should have had more.
He should have had 25 touchdowns.
Even David Montgomery. What happened to the so-called Sonic and Knuckles?
Well, David Montgomery was coming back from injury, and he was 7 for 28. That's not the thing, right? They should have fed Jahmyr Gibbs. They thought that Jared Goff throwing for 40 times was more impactful than Jahmyr Gibbs running for 25.
Let me say something on this one. You know, the last time the Detroit Lions came up with that idea and it fucking failed? It was against Tampa Bay, you morons. When Tampa Bay, when they said, oh, let's have Jared Goff throw a shit ton, it did not work. So why the hell are you doing the same shit when you know that Jahmyr Gibbs is on a turn? He could have gotten 200 yards.
He should have had 200 yards. He should have had like 20 to 25 touches, 200 to 230 yards, like 4 touchdowns. He should have had an Alvin Kamara type of Christmas game where he had like 6 total touchdowns.
Yeah.
But they've refused. They've refused to use him, especially in the second half. And I just don't understand it. I mean, I know you guys are down, but you are one of the most explosive teams in the league.
100%.
Right? And what killed them was their ego, right? Was the ego of the passing game, right? It was Jared Goofball throwing for 3 picks, but also the ego of the trick plays, right? They've been the king of trick plays this year. Right, whether it's a Dan Skipper touchdown or
they need to make a trick play. I'm sorry. That was not when at that moment when they were going for that trick play, unnecessary. It was stupid. Stupid as hell. And you know what? That's my touchdown moment of this week. The what the fuck? No, I call it the what the fuck was that play award.
That's actually my Masala mode of the week, and I'm gonna break that down in a little bit.
Oh my god, please. I need a full breakdown on this bullshit.
Yeah, man. This was insane. I mean, Jaden Daniels was not sacked at all. He was not sacked at all, I believe.
Yeah, he wasn't sacked. 22 for 31, 299 yards,
2 touchdowns. Perfect game.
You know what I'm gonna say? What happened to that 1 yard? What happened? Inga chappal pandapore.
And also he had a lot of like designed runs as well. 16 attempts for 51 yards. I know some of those were scrambles, but a lot of them were designed runs because he had a lot of yards before contact. And here's the thing, right?
Right.
They thought that they could blitz Jaden Daniels. But unlike most quarterbacks in the league, Jaden Daniels is a goddamn menace.
Oh my lord.
Just listen to this, right? This game against the most difficult passing situations for a quarterback versus blitz, throwing under 2.5 seconds and throwing under pressure. Versus blitz.
Yep.
12 of 16 for 191 yards and a touchdown. Plus 7% completion percentage over expected. Under 2.5 seconds. 10 for 16, 172 yards, a touchdown. Plus 6.3 percentage in completion CPOE. And under pressure, man, 7 for 9 for 109 yards, plus 17.6% CPOE. This man was a menace.
Menace, I tell you.
He was blitzed 16 times, and he diced them up like nothing.
Which is why, if you're going to bring a blitz, you better be damn well careful about it because of this. And you know what? I'm also going to say this. And I'll talk about it when I do the preview of the NFC Championship game and what Vic Fangio has to do. You'll get to that soon, but good Lord. Yeah, I just get it, but just go 4 or 5 rushers. That's all you need. Get your linebackers, one of them is a QB spy, one who can run back-to-back. I know you're playing with backups, but come on. Trust in your defensive line.
And this is not even last game, right? It's not like he flipped on a switch.
This was emotional blitzing, not tactical blitzing.
Right, but again, if this was like a game plan for a rookie QB that they didn't really see a lot of tape on,
yeah,
I understand, right? Pressure him, we'll see what happens. And if he just has a fantastic game, so be it. You live by the sword, you die by the sword, right?
Yeah,
that's how the saying goes. Jaden Daniels, this entire season against unblocked rushers, so basically blitzes, had a 96.6 QBR, and QBR is graded out of 100. He was basically perfect.
Oh my Lord.
Against blitzes the entire season.
This is stupid. Why the hell are you blitzing Jaden Daniels when you know he has an ability to scramble? You saw his tape in LSU. You're seeing his tape now. And I mean, I'm sorry, but that was plain stupid by this Detroit defense.
Right.
What the fuck were they doing, man?
And it's not just like his scrambling. It's also his ability to move around the pocket and find the open guy, and with a quick release, bang, get it to him. Right. That's what this is. It's like his passing stats were so good under pressure. It's not like he just bailed out of the pocket. Like, he stayed in the pocket. He took some hits, and he was so perfect. And Commanders, they got their QB. They got their franchise QB, right? Jaden Daniels is basically a top 10 QB already right now.
Dude, you know what? Next year, beat the dome moment, MVP candidate.
Yeah. Yep. We'll see how Cliff Kingsbury evolves.
Oh my God. No, but like the way him and Brian Johnson are working this thing out together, I have to say that's pretty impressive. No going with the stupid air raid, leaning more with a little bit of the run and his ability to develop. I think this is what Cliff Kingsbury needs to stay as an offensive coordinator alone. Do not go full head coach, bro.
Yeah, I think, and like, he's also come out and said with the Saints with the Saints head coaching position being the only one that's open, right? He's come out and said he's retaining his position with the Commanders until after at least next week.
Yeah.
Right. So just to see. So, okay, I want to end off this discussion on Jared Goff, or Jared the Goofball.
Jared Goof.
What do you think of him?
When he's put into a great situation, Jared Goff can excel. But I don't know. I'd say I would say above the top 15.
And it clearly shows. When in clean pockets, this game, 10 of 11 for 137 yards. Basically perfect, like you said.
Yep.
When under pressure, 3 for 10 for 43 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. And now you're looking at the future, right? You're looking at the future. You've lost your 2 most important coordinators. You've lost two key offensive coaches as well, like assistant coaches, in your wide receivers coach, Antoine Randall L.
Legend, by the way, Antoine Randall L.
Exactly. And your quarterbacks coach, who has helped Jared Goff get to this level, right? You are still in a actually pretty decent position in the cap hit this year.
Oh, yeah.
The worst years, just listen to this, right? 2025, his Jared Goff's cap hit, 32.6 mil, which is not bad. 2026, $69.6 million.
Wow.
2027, $54.6 million. 2028, so his age 34 season, $61.6 million. So after this upcoming year, so at the end of the next 4 years, he still is going to be paid almost $180 million.
Yeah.
So you are stuck with him, right? There's very little room for errors now. Like your Super Bowl window is closing. This was your shot.
Right.
Injuries happen, and it definitely impacted that defense, right?
Oh, 100%.
They were not able to generate any pressure. They were not able to generate any turnovers. But even then, you still have to make some sort of I don't want to say you have to make some sort of an effort, but you still need to. You still, like, you tried your best, basically.
Yeah.
And you still failed. And I just don't know. I just don't know if they have another shot, because they have to get a lot of things right next year. This offseason, they're going to have to get a lot of things right. They're going to have to get their offensive coordinator correct. He's got to mesh well with Jared Goff. They've got to get players healthy again, and their defensive coordinator, by all accounts, their new defensive coordinator, who's also an ex-player, by all accounts, he's been pretty good as a coach. So we'll see how that goes. But then you also have to contend with the Packers getting healthy.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears, we'll see what happens with Ben Johnson. In all likelihood, it might be a playoff team next year. We'll see. But you know, after Aaron Rodgers left, this was your division. And what did you do with that? You did jack shit.
Jack shit. No, like, as I like to say, you did, like, there's a guy that I know, Jack and shit. You basically did the two things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's enough of the Lions.
And for the Lions, you blew it. But which I'll get to the next game. Bills versus Ravens. Oh, what a game. What a freaking game. Man,
clearly the game of the week.
That was a fun game.
Oh, yeah.
I had the Bills winning this game, but I said, like, Ravens could possibly win it. But I said I was one of the only people say, hey, Bills are going to win this.
Mm-hmm.
And they did it. And the one thing I was very happy about was, like, Josh Allen didn't need to do that much. It was a run game by James Cook.
Exactly.
17 carries for 67 yards. And Josh Allen doing, again, bare minimum, 16 for 22, 127 yards. Didn't need to do much. And Josh Allen with those 2 touchdowns, and Ray Davis with a touchdown of his own. Khalil Shakir, James Cook, Matt Collins, Dalton Kincaid. Yeah, just do the main thing. Just keep it simple. But the biggest thing was that Bills defense. Holy crap.
Generating turnovers, man. Like you said.
What are 3? Okay, I'm going to quiz you now. What are the 3 things that can kill offensive drives?
Let's see. Sacks.
Mm-hmm.
Turnovers.
Uh-huh.
Penalties.
There you go. And I'm actually going to pull up the team stats on this one via ESPN. Penalties. Who won the penalty battle?
Buffalo.
1 for 10. Ravens, 5 for 43. Who won the turnover battle?
Buffalo.
3 big turnovers, which I'll talk about. And 4 sacks. Who won it?
Buffalo.
2 for 14 for the Ravens, 1 for 1 for the Bills. But I'm going to say this. Getting 3 for 3? Hot damn, that's a winning formula.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've liked about Buffalo this season, they recognize our best suit is that run game, and we pass when necessary. We go on those long drives, drive killers, running the ball, short passes, attack with our tight ends. Hell, this is the reason why Joe Brady's staying for another year. I mean,
you know what I have to say? This is the Philadelphia Eagles mentality. Basically, the Eagles mentality. I mean, you have a good offensive line, you got a good running back core, or you got Josh Allen to provide you with the design runs as well. I'll get into that a little bit. You don't really have the wide receivers, which is unlike the case in Philadelphia. You have 2 top 10.
Khalil Shakir, Dalton Kincaid, Matt Collins, Curtis Samuel, Ty Johnson, Keon Cooper. Amari Cooper was not even used at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the way that they're winning, it's through, and that great defense. We got to talk about Lamar Jackson, man. I was surprised that they decide to attack more with the passing instead of running the ball. When you know you have Derrick Henry, Anand, I thought I was losing my mind. What the fuck was I watching on that?
So in like the first half, they were refusing to run it to Derrick Henry, right? They switched that on in the second half, and they eventually ran for 176 yards, which was helping.
But what happened? What happened in the beginning? What the hell was Todd Monken doing?
I think let me look at these first couple of drives, right?
Yeah.
There was 1, 2, 3.
No, I have the drives for the Ravens. So the first play,
I'm just counting the amount of rushing plays. They basically had like 10 or 11 rushing plays in the first half. That's it. Derrick Henry was given the ball like 7 times.
I'm furious, man. I'm furious. I had to take out my headset for this. If you cannot find balance, what the fuck are you doing, man? And I mean, if you're gonna go pass happy, it's not working more than 75% of the time. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
This kind of ineptitude frustrates me because I want to see a good game. I want to see balanced offense attack. But the thing is, like, hey, if the run game is working, just keep it simple. Just keep on running until they find a way to stop it or they're gassed the hell out. I mean, and if you're beating with the arms, congratulations. May have gone some plays away, but you got to change it up. You really have to do it. And I'm glad they went with it, but you know what the biggest surprise was, dude? Mark Andrews. Holy crap. What happened to him, man?
He had that amazing run towards the latter half of the season. We had like 9 touchdowns in 6 games or something like that.
Yeah.
But come playoff time, it's the team with the toughest mentality that wins. And unfortunately, the Ravens have proven time and time again in the playoffs that they don't have the toughest mentality. Right? Last year, when it came to the Chiefs in the championship, that defense kept them in the game.
Yeah.
But Zay Flowers dropped the ball. They did not run the football at all with Lamar Jackson, right? Against that defense when they clearly should have. And here, it was turnovers, right? The interception from Lamar Jackson and the fumble that he had in the first half, that killed a lot of their momentum. Then the fumble by Mark Andrews.
Oh, my Lord.
Do you want to talk about that last play, dude?
Okay, so the very last play. So the drive, like 19-27 after Buffalo scores, Lamar Jackson goes on a brilliant 3-minute drive. Like, I don't know. I think it was like starting from 3:29. It takes about almost 2 minutes. But I really like this combination. 1st and 10, yes, it was incomplete. 2nd and 10, scramble and the short passes. That was working. And then, of course, getting those big plays to Rashad Bateman and Tolan Wallace, that was good. I really liked it. But then, of course, that beautiful pass to Isaiah Likely touchdown. I'm like, oh my God, they have to get the 2-point conversion. But I'll say this: at the beginning of the second half, when they had that touchdown, when they had that touchdown or field goal or something like that, dude, take the points. You don't need to go for 2 every single freaking time. I think that kind of killed that momentum. But like that 2 points, you throw it to Andrews, man. I thought, like, oh my God, he has it. It's gonna be a tie game, and we gotta see some nice heroics from Josh Allen, right? And Andrews, what are the 3 words that you need to say?
You blew it.
You blew it, boy. That quote for Seinfeld. You blew it, boy. You really blew it. Or how shall I find this? Talk about this more because I need to find a clip. Like, talk about that drive, man. That drive.
Yeah. It was an insane drive. I mean, Lamar Jackson, given all the criticisms that he's faced this entire season and the past couple of years, right? Especially his playoff performances. He put the Ravens on his back. I mean, he delivered dime after dime after dime. And they were just so close. They got the touchdown. Beautiful touchdown pass to Isaiah Likely, right? There's the Lamar Jackson classic fashion of moving around in the pocket, trying to figure out trying to find space, and then finding an open Isaiah Likely in the middle, throwing it to him, getting the ball, getting the touchdown, and they line up. And I think it's best if we show it. So you figure out the
But one thing we'll say, like instead of me and Anna just talking about it, we have 13 seconds to Mark Andrews. But man, my guy.
Mm-hmm.
But do we want to bring up the Mark Andrews drop on this one? Let me pull it up.
I'm just pulling it up here.
No, I have it right in front of me.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I found it right there. Of course, I don't want any of those entrants. Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is after Isaiah Likely gets a touchdown. So this is the play. Anand, show. Okay, I'm gonna put this on mute. This is 2-point conversion. What are we seeing?
Yeah, so it looks like they're in shotgun formation or pistol formation, right? And they have no, it is shotgun. They have Derrick Henry to the right of Lamar Jackson. You got Isaiah Likely motioning from the left side to the right side. In the probably C position. I don't know.
Yeah, but
I need to learn a lot more. But yeah,
but the Bills, they're scrambling on like, are they going to play zone or they're trying to play man coverage? Just straight up man.
Right. It looks like it is man coverage because you see number 3 follow Mark Andrews, and it looks like they're trying to create a rub route where Isaiah Likely creates confusion for the defense, and you have Zay Flower or Rashawn Bateman coming in here blocking the other the other defenders, trying to have their man
like
Mark Andrews,
He's
right?
blocking Damar Hamlin right
and
here.
and this is a design play for Mark Andrews basically to get the points, and you see he is wide open.
Yep. Let me reduce the speed on this one at 0.75.
All right. Okay. Yeah. So he's wide open, and Chris Sims has the audacity to say that Lamar Jackson held on to the football. I don't know what the hell that guy's smoking, but he didn't. That was a clean throw, wide open. All he needs to do is catch it with his hands, fall into the end zone, and it's tied. Right? Catch it with his hands, fall into the end zone, and it's tied. And he couldn't even grasp it. It fumbled in his hands.
Yep.
And man, it was just, oh yeah, there's this view now. So you can clearly see it's right there. It's in his hands.
That's pocket. That is, you make this, like most of the time you make this catch 10 out of 10 times or
99 out of 10. Yeah.
Oh.
So the thing is, yes, they should have gotten it, but also Josh Allen had 1 minute and 33 seconds. So it would have been all on the Ravens defense at that point. And I think they still would have lost because if you give Josh Allen 93 seconds, I'm sure he's going to go down, get a field goal, get into field goal range and get the game winning kick. But at least it would have been that close, right?
Yeah.
But this was just like the epitome of the Ravens playoff performances. You're so close, but you don't have a hard mentality.
Oh yeah.
So that is what it is. Alrighty, Masala moment of the week.
I'm bringing up the sack on Matt Stafford. I am trying to. Okay. Ads. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm gonna take this. So it's first gonna be like one of those crazy endings. So first thing, like after, so it's third down coming up, 1:14 to go, and like, oh my God, this is gonna be the end. 3rd and 2, Stafford shotgun, see what's happening on a like.
Yeah, I mean, you got bunch formation, which is what the Rams do well. But good coverage. I mean, Cooper Kupp is open there. Cooper Kupp is open down here for the first down. Not sure why Matt Stafford is not throwing. I mean, Zach Bond is there probably to maybe intercept it.
Yep.
But it looks like he's open.
Right.
He has enough protection.
But guess who's there? Jalen Carter. He says, hello.
There was no time for Matt Stafford. Just replay in like full speed. I just want to see how much time he has.
So third down. We're right here. 1:14 to go. So 1, 2, 3. 3 seconds.
Yeah, there's not much you can do at that point, right? If he had held on for maybe half a second more, Bo Limmer, the rookie center for the Rams, I think they probably could have gotten that first down, kept the clock running, and then probably get a touchdown.
Yeah, this is a better view from there. So Jalen Carter, he knows that he's going to be facing off, and I think that's your boy Ojimo, I think. So he's faking. He basically stunts. Did you see that?
It's that swim move. It's a swim move to the inside of the A gap, and man, he just put Bo Limmer on his skates.
Yeah, it basically zoink. I can watch this all. Boom.
Yeah, Bo Limmer just got beat on that one. That was just a one-on-one pass set.
Yeah.
And at that point.
Yeah, and I think like on this fourth down, like watching this play, and I thought like, oh my God. So he runs a motion. Stafford steps back and see that pressure initially.
Mm-hmm.
So as he's stepping back, I think it's again Jalen Carter breaks through again.
Mm-hmm.
QB hit. He has to throw it out of bounds.
Yeah.
That is winning football when you needed to play. Jalen Carter freaking delivers, man.
And you know what? The biggest acknowledgement for Jalen Carter, Aaron Donald recently in a podcast was like, "This guy is the next me."
Oh my God!
So when you're getting praise from Aaron freaking Donald, that's it. That's when you know you've got an all-pro type of player.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, so for me, my Masala moment of the week is the week that ended the Lions Super Bowl run. And that is this play right here. It is the stupid trick play. You're down 10. All you need to do is run the football, and you'll probably get into you'll probably score a touchdown, and it'll be a one possession game with like 6 minutes left. Right? No, you don't do that. Your ego gets the better of you.
All about four down.
Dumbest things that you could possibly do. So it's trips formation under center. You got, I believe that's Jahmyr Gibbs in the backfield.
Yeah.
J-Mo as the X receiver out wide, or not out wide, near the hashes almost.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like the Commanders are in zone coverage, right?
Yep. They're playing zone. I think like this game, I believe I was hearing this from this Philly Special Ringer episode, like with Shio Kapadia and Sean Syed. Like this game, they saw that the Commanders played like almost like they played 90% zone, and I think for some plays they went man coverage like 9% of the time. I think that's a number, but
yeah,
most of the time they went zone.
Yeah, you look at this, it's like it's a 5-man rush. You got the blitz coming off this off the end here.
Yep.
That the Lions pick up, right? You got some pin and pull action from the Lions offensive line. They pick up the blitz, and initially it's set as once the ball is snapped, right? Mm-hmm. Once the ball is snapped, it looks like it's a fake to the run.
Gibbs, yeah.
Right? Fake toss to Gibbs, and it's handed off to
Jameson Williams.
No, that's Amon-Ra St. Brown. He hands it off to Amon-Ra St. Brown to what it looks like to be an end around,
right?
Who then tosses it back
to
Jameson
J-Mo.
Williams, and now it's almost like a flea flicker type thing where he's trying to look to throw, but because Commanders are playing pretty good zone defense, and then they
can we pause and talk about what the hell was the situation? You're putting the ball with 3 defenders? Dude, we call these types of ball hospital balls. Even if the receiver catches it, he's gonna get licked. He's gonna get a licking. Basically,
but
a hard
also
hit.
Here at this point, you got Sanders still in very, very tight man coverage, and it turns out he picks the ball. He picks the ball because Jameson Williams is not your quarterback for obvious reasons. But also, what is the mentality of Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell here calling this stupid dumbass trick play when you're only down 10 points? It's
in the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter, but 12 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and it's 1st and 10. It's not a game. It's not. This is what I say, right? Your ego gets the better of you. You've been the king of trick plays this entire season, and you thought, might as well try one more quick play. But the what you should have done in this case was try and run the football, right? Try and run the football and get into scoring position and actually score a touchdown, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you trying to cause? Why are you trying to get away from what works best, which is your run game, right? Why are you when Jared Goff has been throwing interceptions all game long? Why are you forcing another pass play that's a trick play when the Commanders are playing good defensive fundamentals, right? They start in zone coverage, but they see the trick play. Mike Sanders still sees that there's a wide receiver leaking out of the backfield, and he sticks man coverage on him. He eventually gets the interception here, and that's it. I mean, just look at this. There's nowhere near Gibbs, but that's why you don't have a wide receiver throw the football on 1st and 10, dude. What? Come on.
You know what I could have done differently? Had Teddy Bridgewater in that formation. Instead, he was there for like that one play, but you know what I would have done? Like, if you go back, I mean, you don't need to pull it up again, but you could have had Bridgewater, and you could have played Wildcat formation. Have Bridgewater playing in that wide receiver position, has it over, because Bridgewater can make those throws. Unlike Jameson Williams, you did need to fucking risk it, but stuff like this, what's the word that we say? You blew it. Congratulations, dumbass.
That's when the game ended for the Lions. Because after that, I think the Commanders ran for a touchdown.
They never looked back.
They never looked back.
Yep. And Dan Campbell gambled a lot and lost. The gambling luck is over, my friend.
Yep.
Which is why, ladies and gentlemen, for those that are gambling, gamble responsibly. And please, if you face an addiction, get help. I cannot provide you the links, but you know where to go.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, that's going to end the recap of an explosive and fantastic divisional round. Now moving on to the championship round.
Oh my God. Let's fucking go, bro. Let's go.
NFC and AFC championships. I think we should start with the AFC and leave the NFC for the last one.
Oh, baby. Let's bring it. Let's bring it.
So, AFC championship. We know it's the Bills and the Chiefs. It's going to be in Kansas City.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby.
Devil Magic is going to be in full force. The reps are going to try as hard as possible to support their Lord and Savior, Patrick Mahomes, their queen, Taylor Swift. They're going to try and make sure that the Chiefs win this game, and the Bills have to just have they have to be the ones. And I've always talked, right?
Yep.
Especially this episode, about teams having the hardest mentality, right? A hard mentality of not making mistakes, of getting it through the tough times and not losing discipline, not losing discipline in crunch moments. The Bills have to. They have to keep it on. They have to be completely 100% self-aware. And it starts with Sean McDermott. He was the one who was the main culprit behind a lot of the Bills' playoff losses against the Chiefs. Technically Josh Allen is 0-3 against Mahomes, but it's not really Josh Allen's fault. If you look at all those games, he's been playing absolutely phenomenal in those playoff losses. It's mostly the defense and crunch situations when it comes to head coaching maneuvers.
Right.
And those two critical factors have to step up and have to win against this Chiefs team. Because I think this is the easiest game where we can say the team with the fewest mistakes win. Because the Chiefs, nothing that they do in the regular season matters in the postseason, right? Travis Kelce, the entire regular season, he was a scrub. He was a bum. He sucked. He was probably like top 15 as a tight end. He was slow, like freaking molasses. It turns out all he needs to get into the all he needs is to get into the playoffs, and he has a 100+ yard game against the Texans, who have a really solid defense. Right? Patrick Mahomes, he's not done anything special this year, but what happened? He needed to make a play. He made a play. That stupid diving touchdown that he had to Travis Kelce, he made a play and they won. All they need to do is be on top of their defense needs to be on top 100%, and that's Steve Spagnuolo. He always has been, and the offense does not need to make mistakes, and that's been the mentality for the past couple of years. That's their mentality going into this game as well, and that has been their mentality in the playoff losses. Right? You look at the playoff losses. Regular season, the Bills have whooped the Chiefs.
Oh yeah,
but come playoff time, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Because playoffs is
for last year.
I'll say this: the playoffs are a different animal.
Yeah, I mean the Chiefs won against the Bills last year, 27-24. After you had a lot of missed opportunities for the Bills, right? The Bills literally won everything last year. Almost everything. They had the more total yards. They had far more possession. They had more touchdowns. They had a better third down conversion. They had better red zone conversion. They had fewer turnovers. They still lost because they couldn't, their kicker had missed a couple of field goals. He missed one field goal. He missed the game-tying field goal. It was wide right. I mean, it's crushing playoff losses after crushing playoff losses. The previous one, it was that insane 13-second overtime playoff.
Oh my God.
In 2022. It never ends. So right now, the Bills have to be the smarter team because they're playing against the Chiefs. They're playing against the refs. It's got to be picture perfect. And I think this game depends on their offense. If they're able to focus on the run game like they did last year, focus on James Cook, especially in the red zone. He has 16 rushing touchdowns. That's tied for number 1 in the league this year, James Cook.
Yep.
And you give a lot of design runs to Josh Allen, who's number 1 in success rate this year amongst all running backs and quarterbacks who run the football like Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. He is number 1 in success rate this year. So you've got to focus on it. Has to be like 65% run game. The rest is the pass game. And this is one thing that the Bills do really, really well. I found this stat, Rakshak.
Yes.
They are the best team in the league, especially this year, in terms of generating explosiveness by passing to the running back.
Oh my.
They have 0.64 EPA, so expected points added, per snap on 16% target share to the running back. 0.64 EPA per pass to a running back. The next closest is the Ravens at 0.3. So they're almost double the effectiveness at receiving backs with Ty Johnson, Ray Davis, and obviously James Cook.
Yep.
That's what they need to focus on. They need to feed their running backs.
Mm-hmm.
Their running backs need to be the center point of this offense.
Yep.
Right?
I think that's the key.
So if they can focus on the run game, focus on getting touches to all their running backs, utilizing them in various unique positions, especially utilizing them in the red zone, then I think they have a shot at winning. But I think this is going to be a hella close game. I think it's going to be like 30-28.
Oh,
but I think the Chiefs win, man, because this year they constantly win. And I cannot pick the Bills until I see the devil being slain.
You know what? I'm very strong in my faith, Anand. And I will say, and I curse, and I mentioned before, I am placing the Raksha curse on the Kansas City Chiefs. And you know what? My heart and my mind says go Bills. The Bills will be making it to the Super Bowl under Josh Allen. They're going to get the job done. And I hope so too. And now for the NFC.
One more thing.
Go ahead.
Do you have anything to say about this game? Anything?
Oh, yeah. I think, again, if the Bills can play that, they have to play a perfect game. They have to run the ball effectively more. I think you stressed it more than 50% of the time, and I'm going to re-stress it. Bills, run the ball through their throats. The Chiefs, yes, they may stop it, but how long can they stop the run, man? Because James Cook is a beast. Unleash that son of a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
And don't pass it too much. Just keep it simple. Short, quick gains. Force Spagnuolo to unless Spagnuolo can find some plays, keep the pressure on. Bills don't need to rush Pat Mahomes. Just stick with the 4 or 5-man fronts. That's all I'm saying. I think this is going to be key on the linebackers and the corners because that defensive line is good, but the linebackers have to be in position because they have to focus. Because Travis Kelce, if he's in the middle of the field and you're not covering his ass, gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I can see a lot more crossers and meshes. They have to be ready for that.
Yeah.
And Sean McDermott and Joe Brady have to coach their heads out. They have to be 500%. Everyone has to be in sync.
Mm-hmm.
And I say the Bills win this game 30-28. Tyler Bass goes inside middle. No talks of wide right and wide left. Straight in the middle. Bills are going to go to the freaking Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We'll see. Alrighty. Now on to the Eagles and the Commanders.
Oh my God. The NFC Championship game. Who would have thought it would be the rubber match of two NFC East teams?
Mm-hmm.
The Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. Who would have thought? Lions, you screwed up a big opportunity. And guess what? By the way, the Commanders made it to the NFC NFC Championship game before the Cowboys did this.
Wait. Yeah, so here's the stat, right? Since 1996, every NFC team has made the championship game except for the Cowboys.
You still them boys? But I'm going to break it like this. Eagles offense versus the Commanders defense. Last time the Eagles offense played in Washington, it was like Jaden Daniels had that Frankie Louvu had that dirty ass hit on Jalen Hurts, and Kenny Pickett had to step up. And Commanders did a good thing, but like after having that Saquon Barkley wrong run, they would say, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna limit the box. We're gonna tighten it." And he only had almost 2 yards per carry. They did a really good job on him. And AJ Brown was able to win some of his matchups of Marshawn Lattimore because of passing interference and whatnot. But now Hurts being a little bit more healthy, he should be able to play. So Frankie Louvu, bitch ass motherfucker, better watch out. I'd rather have Sidney Brown put in the game and knock your ass out, bitch. Understand that. And then I hear bulletin board material from Joe Witt, the defensive coordinator. You know, he said, "Hey, we're going to treat Jalen Hurts like a running back and we're going to hit him hard." Bro, you're asking for a body bag game 2.0. 1990, before y'all went to the Super Bowl or that thing, the Eagles defense under Buddy Ryan was dropping y'all players so badly that one Eagles player said, "Hey, looks like y'all better need body bags." Guess what? We're going to get body bags and graves ready for y'all motherfuckers. Y'all been talking so much shit lately. Like Commanders fans, dude, like the players themselves, they're very good. But the fans have been churching. And you know what I also found out? They dressed up the Rocky statue.
They did it. They did not, dude.
They did. I saw a picture of it.
Redskins gear. What Commanders fan is going to dress it up with Redskins gear? It was a false flag operation. It was done by an Eagles fan.
I don't know. There's a fucking curse in it. I said, remember, you don't tug on Superman's cape. You don't piss in the wind, and you better not put any shit on the Rocky statue, especially opposing teams, because we will beat their asses. But now, back to offense, Eagles offense versus Commanders defense. Big news. Actually, a big Demarcadar news to report. If you know, defensive, I will say, I think this is a big one. This is actually a big loss. Commanders downgraded defensive tackle Daron Payne out due to knee and finger injuries. This is a huge loss because on 1st and 10 runs this year, this is according to Bill Barnwell, with Payne on the field, the Commanders had a 64.4% success rate on defense. Over 97 first and 10 carries without Payne. That has dropped from 64 to 51.6%, which is last in the league. And now with Payne being out, you know what I'm thinking with the Eagles? What's the one thing that they should be doing? Tell me.
Run the ball.
And you know what? I'm ready to change the fight song from Fly Eagles Fly to Run, Saquon, Run. That's pretty, and we talked about the game plan. What was it that, I think you said it brilliantly. What was it that the Eagles needed to do with this game?
Run the football. Especially with Jalen Hurts and Saquon, and only throw in dire situations.
Quick pass.
Less than 15 pass attempts.
Right. And I could talk about DVOA and EPA and all that stuff, but that is not it. I'm throwing these stats away because right now the playoffs are a different animal. You said this. The playoffs are a different animal than what we have in the regular season. And I will say this. With Jalen Hurts having that limited, he's going to be wearing a leg brace. He's going to be wearing a brace on his left knee. So we have to see how limited he is with this running. But if you're going to run, please slide properly and throw the ball away quickly. That's all I can say. Don't need to roll right, roll left. You're going to expect, again, if I'm the Commanders, they're going to definitely stack the box big time. That's a freaking given. Especially, and one thing I've noticed, they'll probably bring dirty-ass Frankie Louvu, the bitch, and Bobby Wagner. They'll try and crowd the line of scrimmage to show blitz, and then sometimes they'll pull back. I don't know what game that was. Lions I think it was some playoff game. Lions or some other team. They showed a 5-7 man they're showing blitz, and then they peeled off a couple of guys back. You know what I'm referring to? And I think that's something that Joe Witt and Dan Quinn can possibly do. And I could see that they go full. I think they'll try and put full man coverage, especially the Marshawn Lattimore versus AJ Brown. That's everyone's looking forward to. Devontae Smith will probably go up against Benjamin St. Juste or Mike Sainristil still. But the biggest thing with Dallas Goedert being ready for this game, saying like he's going to be playing in this game, that is huge because especially in the middle of the field, this is what I say: run the ball with Saquon Barkley, and then the same, and I think like that's been the best part for the Eagles' offensive line because they are one of the best O lines, especially Jeff Stoutland, the O line coach, being the run game coordinator. Inside zone runs, outside, hell, get a jet sweep involved too. Get Jahan Dotson too. And with Jalen Hurts passing, like again, less than 150 yards, but make those quick timing passes. And if you're going to take those deep shots to AJ Brown, you got to make those catches, man. They're going to be fighting. And yes, read the book, Inner Excellence and all that. That's great. But which I actually have a copy, by the way. No, like, oh damn! My book is in my bedroom, but I will say this: Hurts has got to pass. I mean, Hurts has to pass, and that passing game has to be clean. And I will say this: outside of AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, get Goddard, Calcaterra, Jahan Dotson. I want a Jahan Dotson revenge game. And I mean, outside shots, crossers, slants, mesh, middle of the field, daggers if you need to. Get the play action from under center. When they did that before, I thought it was worked out well. Try use a little bit of RPO. Keep on guessing. Don't turn over the ball, which you're doing well. Just avoid the sacks. Just throw it away quickly. But if it's a blitz, get those hot routes ready. Don't need to make plays with your legs. If you're that limited, quick passing has to be there. And that's especially, and I think I'm going to say this. This is going to be a big Dallas Goedert game because I don't know if AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are going to get. I think they're going to be focusing a lot more on it. I can expect the Commanders putting in the safety. I think either Jeremy Chin or someone else to either shadow one of those receivers. But I believe this is going to be more of a Dallas Goedert game. And on defense against the offense, big update. Washington Commanders offensive lineman I believe guard Sam Cosmi being out, so they could go with Trent Scott, or they could shift Andrew Wiley from right tackle to guard like he did in Kansas City, and start Cornelius Lucas. But even with Cosmi in the lineup, Jalen Carter went through that son of a bitch. That's all I could say. And I think like with Trent Scott, a right guard. That's a pigeon, as Hollis Thomas would say. And that's going to be the biggest matchup to see. But with Jaden Daniels, I know the Eagles can definitely shut out their one with Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson Jr. Just tackle. You got to tackle clearly. You cannot have one game in which you're missing 14 straight tackles. Tackle. Then try for the turnover and the big plays. You know what I mean? Tackle first. And I know Vic Fangio is going to be like scheming. And last time when the Eagles went blitz happy and that final drive with Jaden Daniels, when it took 2 minutes for them to score that game-winning touchdown, that on that 33-36 game, Eagles blitzed nearly every time. You cannot do that. You saw what happened with Detroit. When Aaron Glenn said, "Oh, I don't care if you're injured. Let's go emotional blitz." Emotional damage right there. We don't want that. Just go with the basic 4-man, 5-man rush. I'd say other than Zach Bond being in coverage, maybe, and I'll say this, instead of Oren Burks in some place, this could be the game in which we bring in the Axeman Jr., Jeremiah Trotter Jr., man. Because he's a good downward blitzer, and he's been okay in coverage. And I also think another big test is going to be those edges. The way that Josh Sweat, Jalex Hunt, and Nolan Smith Jr., I think they're going to be getting a lot more snaps, and they have to do their best job to keep Daniels contained. But at the meantime, with Carter breaking through that offensive line, I think I want to see more snaps from Jordan Davis. But the way that Moro Ojimo and Milton Williams, I'm like, damn. And Mil Williams is in a contract here. He's fighting for something, so he's trying to show off. I'm like, hey, I don't care, boys. Y'all just eat. They're like, it's like that one scene from Lord of the Rings, like the Uruk-hai's like, meat's back on the menu, boys. That's all I see. 4-man, 5-man run front. And I still have to say Zach Bond and Oren Burks for the time being. But in case maybe Fangio puts in a third linebacker, get Nakobe Dean involved, go in the traditional 3-4 kind of defense or 4-3. But my biggest concern is going to be that passing attack, man. If I had a receiver to watch out for, I think, Zach Ertz has been great. And I still miss Zach Ertz in an Eagles green. He does not look well in the Commanders, man. I hate it, man. That has to be a game for Zach Bond. And I could also see Cooper DeJean playing in that soft position, which he's done pretty good. But we got to talk about Scary Terry, man. Scary Terry is scaring me this game. And Quinyon Mitchell, yeah, he got caught in this one game, but that was not one of his best games. But so far, he's been playing very well. And even though he's injured, he said that he'll be ready to play this game. Isaiah Rodgers better be ready for this one as well. And maybe this game, they put in a safety like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who's probably going to lay a big hit. So it could happen. But don't forget De'Ami Brown and Olamide Zaccheaus, a.k.a. an ex-Eagle, and Zaccheaus, man. You gotta do well in coverages. You cannot be missing tackles. And I say Eagles have to go a little bit more press man. Maybe zone can work out, but as a press man, just jam, disrupt the routes. Don't need to get too handsy. And apparently, I also got news that this could be Darius Slay's last home game with the Eagles. This could be his final year with the Eagles, man. Because he could retire, but he knows that he's probably may not come back. So he said this could be it. And I just hope, it could go either way, but I'm confident that the Eagles have more talent. They have that experience in Jalen Hurts playing. And plus, Jake Elliott got to make those kicks. And Sean Hockley's going to be refereeing that game. Instead of fucking Sean Smith, that other referee who decided to throw out CJ for no apparent reason. Fuck you, Smith. Get your ass back to Cancun, bitch. Those games are fun, but man, you're in the link, baby. And I have a feeling, and with the way that I saw that video, when I saw Mr. Weapons like Brian Dawkins make that video, it's hot season for the Eagles, man. Eagles are going to win this game 27-20. It'll be a very tight game, but I will say Saquon Barkley delivers. Jalen Hurts does not make any mistakes. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, probably 50-plus yards. Dallas Goedert will probably get a touchdown. Defense gets a couple of sacks. They'll get some sacks, and they'll win the turnover battle for sure. And I think you have to stop Jaden Daniels from scrambling. You don't blitz him. But if you're going to blitz him, you better be ready to tackle him quickly. Especially like on those 4th and longs. Be there, tackle and wrap. And Chauncey, and just be clean on the penalties, man. That's all there is.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head for everything. So excellent analysis as always, Rakshak. I don't see anything else to add. I think, like you said, don't blitz Jaden Daniels. And in fact, they actually don't so in terms of zone coverage, they're not good versus zone cover 6. So stats provided by Shane Half. But it's going to be very difficult to stop this Commanders offense. I'm definitely going to say that.
That's for sure. Which is why I think it's going to be one of those high stakes battle. But the Eagles can try and get at least some. Remember the 3 things that can kill offensive drives: turnovers, sacks, and penalties. If they can get one of those, if they can get at least 2 of the 3, and they're able to score more points, perfectly fine with it. Because if you looked at that Steelers-Eagles game, the Eagles were great passing, but then in the 4th quarter alone, they literally took the entire game, the full 10 minutes and ran a control thing. They could switch gears just like that. They could do that. They have that ability, but they have to score on the first drive. That's for sure. And Jake, you got to make those kicks.
They got to start fast.
That's the click.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, that's going to conclude our.
Oh, what's your score prediction, by the way, for the Commanders-Eagles game?
I think the Super Bowl is going to be Chiefs-Eagles. I think the Eagles win 27-24. I think it's close. Hey, I'm hoping for Bills Commanders. Like my heart is rooting for Bills Commanders.
If it's Bills and Eagles, America loses.
Yeah. Either Buffalo or Philadelphia is going to be nuked off the map after Super Bowl.
And you know what? I'll say this, and I'm not going to piss off a bunch of Eagles fans. I would not mind the Bills winning over the Eagles. Of course, I'll get upset, but the Bills fucking deserve it, man. They need a ring.
Alrighty. Well, that's going to be it for us today. If you guys have enjoyed our podcast, please leave us a review at one of the 4 podcast platforms that we host our podcast on: Apple, Google, Spotify, and Pocket Cast. Or Rakshak?
We're also on YouTube, so make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment. We're also on the following social media platforms: Twitter/X, Instagram, and Threads. Yes, we have a Threads account, all under the same username, at NFL Masala 2022, all lowercase. That is again at NFL Masala 2022, all lowercase, no spaces.
And we'll hit you guys with our signature outro. Go Pack Go.
And fly, Eagles, fly. Take care. Have a good night. We're almost done with this football season, baby. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.